Albert Einstein once said, "Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think." I believe that our current state of education needs to be reformed. In order for students to be successful in high school and post-secondary education, a few major changes need to be made. One of the major issues in the education system is standardization. Students are now being categorized into different groups based on certain standards. For example, in high school, students are automatically placed into academic, applied, and essential courses based on the marks that they achieved in grade 8. Students who achieve lower grades are placed into applied and essential courses, and students who achieve higher marks are placed into academic classes. Before high school even begins, students are being divided and led to believe that they're not as smart as their peers just because they're not in an academic course. It should be made clear to students that academic, applied, and essential classes are just different ways to learn and not different levels of intelligence. A way to implement this way of thinking for students could be having them take a learning skills test before they enter high school to see which type of learning works best for them. It should be explained to the students that academic courses are classes which focus on conceptual and theoretical learning, applied courses focus on practical and concrete applications, and finally, essential courses focus on workplace preparation and hands-on learning. It is important that students know that one type of course is not better than another. They are simply just different styles of learning. Along with the categorization of intelligence happening, students will now be required to take 4 online courses as part of their 30 credits in order to achieve an Ontario high school diploma. In Sir Ken Robinson's TED Talk, he speaks about a paradigm shift that he desires for our education system. I believe that by introducing the mandatory online courses, we're actually going in the opposite direction of the desired shift. For many students, online courses are a better way to achieve a credit. Many students have difficulty speaking in front of their peers and get distracted by others in class, or simply work better on their own. Personally, taking an online course benefits me because I'm able to fit it more into my schedule and I can work at my own pace. I also really like assignment-based assessment. Online courses give myself and other students with preferred learning styles an opportunity to excel in our classes. But what about the students who have difficulty with online learning? Some students are not able to work independently and need in-person support from a teacher, and others could just get frustrated with the technology of e-learning. Students are now being held to the standard of being able to complete multiple online courses, even if it doesn't benefit their learning, but instead puts it at risk. The online courses should be made optional instead of mandatory, so everyone has a fair chance of achieving higher marks. The WDSB published an evaluating, assessing, and reporting handbook outlining the criteria and steps used to evaluate their students. So before I talk about the handbook, this issue is basically our education system is evaluating and assessing students in the same way. So I don't really think that's fair. The first principle of the 7 fundamental principles of assessment and evaluation states that teachers use practices and procedures that are fair, transparent, and equitable for all students. Throughout school, our teachers have told us that we are all different, yet when it comes to assessment and evaluation, we're now all considered the same. What may be transparent to one student could be extremely difficult to understand for another, and it's not fair that students are all being assessed the same. My final issue with our current state of education is that I feel as though it is being pushed on students that your mark is the only thing that matters in school. By doing this, we have lost the true meaning of learning. Students are so focused on simply trying to memorize the facts they need in order to succeed during evaluation that they do not fully comprehend or even care about what they're memorizing, and I think this needs to change. Educators should not just assume that every student is able to recite information, and we should not be held to that standard. Speaking from personal experience, I know that I achieve higher marks on projects and assignments rather than on a test or an exam. I get too caught up on the memorization part that I don't even think about what I'm writing, and I don't even pay attention. Students should have the choice to present the information they've learned to educators in the way they feel best showcases their knowledge on a subject. In conclusion, in order for our education system to be reformed, standardization needs to stop. As a system, we need to come together and accept our learning differences to realize that our education is extremely important and we're all capable of learning.